Hey everybody. So this week we're looking at crowdsourcing, or the wisdom of the crowds. And it's a relatively new term, but the concept really goes back a long time. So think about Tom Sawyer. Remember in the Adventures of Tom Sawyer when Tom needed help painting his fence? So what he does is he convinces all his friends that it's really fun to paint the fence. And he gets a lot of people to take over his work for him. In fact, he convinces his friends to pay him to paint the fence. He was crowdsourcing. So today, another way that things are crowdsourced is with rating systems. Things like the like button or thumbs up and thumbs down on websites like Facebook. In fact, the like button on Facebook was such a useful crowdsourcing tool that it got Betty White to host Saturday Night Live because of a Facebook campaign where they got enough people to like that initiative, and she ended up hosting Saturday Night Live. Some would actually argue that Facebook and Twitter were instrumental in the Arab Spring revolutions. Also, new forms of public involvement in journalism and science are examples of crowdsourcing. So do a search on your own for the term citizen science and look at all the different ways you can be involved in advancing scientific research just as a citizen. Also, CNN's iReport program is an example of what's called citizen journalism. So average citizens can go out and record a story that they find interesting, and CNN might pick it up and put it on their network. Crowdfunding is kind of a version of the term crowdsourcing. Kickstarter is a website that's probably one of the more popular examples of crowdfunding. It's a site that allows people to get donations for projects. So one might speculate that there's no accountability if a project never happens. So for example, people are just trying to raise money and then they don't actually do anything, to return people's investments. But Kickstarter actually claims that they do have some terms that require accountability of project owners. And surprisingly, a high percentage of funded projects actually do happen. And in a lot of cases, the investors do get a return. So many programs and services use crowds as a major part of their offerings. So think about Pandora, the streaming radio service. It relies on the preference and ratings of other users to deliver music that they think that people would like. Another similar example is Amazon's users who bought this also bought this kind of algorithm. So that's another example of crowdsourcing. Also, targeted advertisements and autocomplete suggestions are all examples of how other people are used as tools to help companies either communicate or advertise in kind of precise targeted ways by harvesting the data on the crowds, basically. So one of the problems with things like these initiatives is one of the problems is that people sometimes figure out how to game the system. So they basically figure out that if we search for something over and over and over again, that's actually going to affect the results that other people get. And so they game the system a little bit, sometimes in funny and unusual ways. So here are a couple examples from how people have kind of basically maybe crowd hacked would be the term for this, but as a crowd they've gamed the system on the Google autocomplete results. So this one says how to raise your IQ by eating gifted children. Kind of funny. Dinosaurs. So they start typing dinosaurs WE, and then one of the top things that comes up is dinosaurs were made up by the CIA to discourage time travel. This is supposedly one of the top autocomplete hits. And so CAPTCHAs, you've probably done this where you're signing up for a new website or something, and then it has you type a word, but the word is kind of blurry or it's in a funny shape or something like that. So here's an example on the screen here. So this is actually invented by a guy named Louis von Ahn, who is a human-computer interaction professor at Carnegie Mellon University. And so he invented CAPTCHAs as a crowdsourcing solution. So the reason that the computer knows that you're a human typing the word is because enough other humans have typed the same word, but they're kind of blurry, like I said, and that means that there aren't good computer programs that can interpret what the words are, but humans can basically decrypt what the letters are and they type them out. And if enough people type the same word, then they match, and then you get to sign up for the website. So the other thing that they've done is they've taken a step further and invented something called reCAPTCHA, which is actually taking images that are kind of blurry because they're from scans of really old books, and then they use the people to interpret what those words are. So kind of cool. Every time you sign up for a new website, you've got the annoying little CAPTCHA page. You're actually helping digitize old books. So keep that in mind. Crowdsourcing.